In my experience, whenever you approach a new ANBERLIN song, you witness this entirely reasonable exhilaration effect manifest within you. I say this as someone who has a years-long relationship with this group. Many of you know I've acknowledged in the past when I think of foundational rock influences of what brought me into being a metalhead as I am today, ANBERLIN was one such presence, notably of the Christian rock regard as well. That was a fitting foundation. It completely made sense for my earlier years of Christian music to suddenly step me into the rock scene, of which ANBERLIN, alongside many other groups, swiftly came in. And I've been a fan of theirs since I was like 6 or 7. I forget exactly how old I was, but since Ready Fuels. It's been a long time with this group, and I've witnessed, as I was saying, this effect manifest time and time again with you. And it's been a real honor to spotlight ANBERLIN. Many of you know I love covering music on the channel. It is a first love in my life and a long-time aspiration to centralize as an artistic presence alongside other artistic languages, which I also favor, but music for me is the preferred one. I think of groups, again, that I've had the aspiration to showcase for a while. And ANBERLIN, I was under the impression, as many of you know, pre-Silverline, that they were on hiatus. But then suddenly that EP came out, and I'm like, wait, they're back? And now here we are, 9 tracks later. I am, in fact, featuring this EP in full, like I did Silverline. And it's been a real honor to spotlight them again. So as I was saying, though, I've witnessed this effect take place. So I look at Animals on that promise, and it's already rewarding. But Animals as a title, to me, comes off a bit attractive, and I'm curious to see. I have surveyed the lyrics in advance of hearing the track with you on a first impression. As I've been noting with the previous free works, Lacerate, Decoder, and Banshee, there's been this evolving theme manifesting of, at least in the way that I see it. I haven't been privy to an observed or declared ambition on part of the group, if there is one, and feel free to chime in down below if you happen to be familiarized to that information. But for me, Convinced is manifesting a storyline of a relationship gone wrong, or challenging relationship dynamics, or relationship in crisis, however you want to refer to it, basically bad relationships. Animals kind of plays into that, though it's less direct, but the titling and the way this is written, it has a deep sophistication on narrative style, which I'm not surprised at all by ANBERLIN. They are very original in their expression. It's probably the reason I love them so much. And relationship investigations are central to their work. They've done that for many years in terms of their back catalog of songs and albums. There's been so many pieces that have dealt with that theme head on. And this album is really playing into that to various different respects. The last song, Banshee, was quite good, a bit softer by comparison to the other 2 EPs, or not EPs, but the songs, Lacerate and Decoder. Those were much more mainstream, rock, heavy ANBERLIN. I'm curious to see which direction Animals goes. I could see it wavering to either respect. Silverline was like this. There's a real mixture, but I'm loving the freshness again of this new ANBERLIN vision, though again, there's that central foundation that if you're familiarized ANBERLIN listener, which I know many of you are, but maybe some of you are not, this will be your first introduction. I hope you have a fun time. I would encourage you to go back in terms of the previous tracks with Convinced, Respect, Lacerate, Decoder, and Banshee, again, to highlight. You should witness those, and then be returned to Animals so you can see the evolution manifest in order. But I welcome you. And I hope this is a mixture of perspective in terms of the art that I spotlight here, especially in regards to music, that some of you are familiarized listeners, and others perhaps I'm paving a route for you to explore talents that have been longtime favorites of mine, or fresh introductions simultaneously. We've had a number of groups I've spotlighted here that have shared in that attribution, but ANBERLIN I've known for many years. And Convinced is a wonderful EP, whether it be to the respect of highlighting again the roots of ANBERLIN, which I came to love many years ago, or hearing this fresh embodied energy and exploration that Silverline and this new EP are both manifesting centrally. I'm sure Animals will kind of tie in. I'm just really curious to see evolution, again, if this does in fact continue on song feeling and experience the storyline of the previous free tracks, because it's not necessarily with a song, at least in the way that I'm looking at it, following a linear path. It's more so playing into similar. It's a good parallel to other songs, but it kind of feels like an interesting tie-in. But it just kind of sits with some of the other previous works rather than, again, continuing a central story, at least for me. Maybe you'll see it differently. You know, music is a subjective experience for sure. But I'm curious to hear, for myself. But as I was saying, the title Animals, I like it. It embodies this natural rage and chaos, this disorder. I really like, though, how this is written. I'm curious to tie in a tune. so far, we're free for free in terms of exploration on this new EP. I'm really liking it. I hope you have the same response. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the song, and as many of you know in terms of how I format coverage, maybe you've not been introduced yet to my work, lyrics are provided directly in the video, so if you want to read along with the storyline for yourself, that will be available for you. I try and accommodate listener taste to the best extent that I can and provide complete coverage. So, if you want that edition, that's there. If not, just sit back and witness Animals with me, and we'll enjoy good work, as this is my ambition in music, that we explore good work together and good art generally. ANBERLIN has, for me, always qualified. Convinced is no different. Let's add Animals into consideration. Okay, here's again this dominant synth exploration. And there's that subtle strumming. Again, pleasurably dated. I'm liking this old rewind effect. It's a slower song, okay. Again, mixture of tone. I like the eeriness. It's deeply troubled in nature. I'm liking that darker mood. I like the note shift. That was good. Unexpected. Smooth. Good mixture of tone. This is different. Though there's again a distinct flair on triumphant ballad songs that ANBERLIN's done in the past. This connects so well. But on shift moods and unexpectedness, you've immediately won me over. Deeply creative. I like the added aggression. Building that mood. Song and narratives are coupling themselves really well in these works. Again, this is written with broad appeal. If you want to play around in that romantic storyline, yes, I think it does click. As far as the original ambition and creativity goes, I think this piece is the top level. For sure, and the other pieces are good, but this is something different and unique entirely. This construction is wonderful. That's good. Incredibly strong on a creative note. You know, as I said previously with, I think Decoder, and maybe I said it with Lacerate as well, I love seeing that there was an expressed interest among some of you in regards to when I covered Silverline. You've asked me, would I give the same respect to Convinced? To see that expressed interest was wonderful, and again, it's so nice to have a sense of, though I'm reluctant to use this word because it's so overused these days, but just for lack of a better term and for ease right now, I love having a sense of community being forged, at least on this channel, around good art, and music for me has always offered that. I'm so glad, though, that you asked me. I was already planning to cover it. You know, I figured if I did this for Silverline, why not do it for Convinced? It's easy enough. And I love spotlighting ANBERLIN. As I've said many times, I feel honored to highlight good music that, again, has such a legacy in my life. ANBERLIN being one such credit. And there's numerous to mention, but ANBERLIN for sure. I'm grateful that some of you expressed an interest, because I definitely felt motivated and spurred on to check it out as soon as possible. And to witness that with you. As I've said, music is better. I've listened to plenty of tracks on my own. It's just not the same. I enjoy listening to music or offering a experience that can be tailored this way. I love having music in terms of a corporate witness, that we get to entertain good work together, and it's a mutual enjoyment. That piece, it's interesting again to see the creative reach that this EP is taking, much like Silverline, in fresh lenses. The first two pieces, well, the Lacerate especially had a bit of a fresh flair to it, and it felt like there were extensions being played with that ANBERLIN had not necessarily ventured in as deeply yet. Decoder shifted back into an older ANBERLIN mood. The last piece was really strong on lyrics, had a smoothness to it and an elegance. All of these pieces, though, I felt, between forming a bridge between song and narrative, they're all specific in this. They're evoking the pathos that the songs are driving at lyrically quite well in song mood. In particular choices. Just the imagination of this album. And what's embodied here with Animals. As I said, creatively, this is such an original flair. It's a different level. And I feel that in some, to be careful to the other songs, because I liked them. I don't necessarily overshadow. Again, I'm not one that likes to rank things. Because every piece on this album has been good and different, isolated and specific to their own signature credits. But Animals is a bit of a level up. The mood, the way that this is structured, again, in an uphill crescendo, where it starts suddenly, you think this is another one of those softer numbers, right? It's got that ballad approach that a lot of the Silverline pieces had. You think it has that humble origin, but then it constantly grows in aggression, especially with the mood of the lines. And again, the originalist expression to this is so deeply attractive. You take up space in my head, oh, it's true, my moment watershed so absorbed I can't tell us apart anymore. Are we ruthless creatures after all? I want to tear you apart, I want to eat you alive. This type of writing I just don't see in other places. God, I love sophistication like this. But the fact that the aggression grows, whether it be in the riff basis, and how aggressive the song is on percussion, on guitar work, fitting again that aggressive ANBERLIN energy, that was really cool to see, even if it is subdued and intentionally suppressed. I love how distant and yet close it is. It's such a beautiful integration and natural. But then for Stephen Christian's vocals to also follow suit, for there to be a growth there, especially towards the end with that integrated yell. Perfect. That like whispered scream effect. Perfect blend. Animals. On creativity, I feel this is the most triumphant of the works. It definitely feels like an individual to that specific regard. Though each piece has been good. Let me be very clear in how I acknowledge that. I've liked every single one. In isolation, this piece has a reach that I just don't see to the potency with the other pieces. Though there are comparisons to be made. I'd be curious, by the way, to hear your responses down below, and whatever angle you approach to as well, if you do wish to disclose this information, whether you are a longtime fan or a fresh listener of theirs. If you're a fresh listener, that was a deeply ambitious piece for you to witness, and I would encourage, again, you go back on Convinced as well as their back catalog, and check out some maybe more of their mainstream stuff to get a wider perspective, because you just witnessed something that is a bit of a reach for them. But I'd love to hear what you thought about it down below. For me, I admire originality, I admire trial. This piece, and again, it has broad appeal too on the writing. If you want to play into that romantic energy of a relationship in chaos, oh, it's got that. Though again, hopefully not in literal vision, like I want to tear you apart and eat you alive. Those are very violent lines. But they could also have different types of appeals in terms of different applications and seasons of life that people endure, right? I could see, again, extrapolations going other places where the song is a bit of a broader reach. And I respect, again, that wide canvas that songs intentionally sometimes can play around in. This piece has that. Just emotionally, it connects. Comparatively to the other pieces, again, I'm loving this manifestation I'm seeing, not just in romantic exploration, And this is strong. Again, as I said, I posited the question of whether or not this piece would play back into that. On mood, it does. And again, the songs amplify the emotions of the piece. That is true to each song that we've entertained. Specifically, Banshee and Animals are really evoking that bridge. But I think it's been true for each piece, to each piece with different respects. But I'm really noticing these last two. The bridge, in terms of how music and narrative work together, a fabulous structure and good vocal choices, again, to complement the mood. A deeply ambitious piece, and one that I think ANBERLIN fully delivered on. As all these pieces have, Convinced is really strong as a work from them. I'm loving these ANBERLIN EPs. They're good collections, and again, explorations of something new. In retrospect, Animals is definitely curious on anticipation and an enigma on standing. But it's subversion done really, really well on effect. This piece, for me, just takes everything out of you. It's so good on illustration. To study it, you just have this deep respect for its creativity and its ambition. And again, ANBERLIN plays around a lot with this fresh energy as of late, post-hiatus. I'm really seeing this exploration, though again, there's a fitting connective thread. And this definitely evokes that again on Ballad or Origin. You get that immediate vibe. But then to see the canvas of the work as it unfolds, and its direction, and how it drives again that aggressive mood to its conclusion, it's just so... It's such a wonderful piece. Great work of art from them. Again, I'm loving this ride of ANBERLIN. Convinced is proving to be quite as strong, if not maybe a little stronger than Silverline. It is an evolution, and it's one that's manifesting beautifully. We'll see how satisfactory, of course, sure it will be. As we get to Nothing More, we'll see how fully developed the vision is. But so far, 4 tracks in, this is something else in terms of a creative work. I'm loving the exploration. I'm loving this hybrid mood between mainstream ANBERLIN and past music era. There was that evoked, as well as just this fresh modern energy and this unique feel. Animals is just so specifically stylized, and it's so attractive on delivery. Deeply beautiful work. Loved hearing it with you for a first time, and I think that piece compels again that mutual experience. It's what I like to listen, or what I like to witness with music. Animals, sufficient credit to that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.